Hello, it's Sonia here, The Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today is Tuesday, and that means it's Tunisian Tuesday. So I am going to be using my eye hook, or 5.5mm hook, and I've already gotten started on my chain. So we're just going to be doing a Tunisian stitch pattern here. So I'm using some worsted weight number 4 cotton yarn. I'm not sure the brand. The labels off it. It might be peaches and cream, sugar and cream, one of those. So for this stitch pattern, I don't know what it's called. I'm calling it the twisted knit stitch because it incorporates the Tunisian knit stitch and it looks twisted. So I'm going to call it that. And you can chain, I would say you can chain any amount. I have chained 14 here. So what we're going to do is we're going to work row 1, and that's going to be our setup row. So we're going to work in the back bump of the chain and the second bump from our hook. We're going to pull up a loop just like we did. This is like a normal Tunisian beginning. A lot of Tunisian stitches start off this way. Now you don't have to work in the back bump, but I just think it looks a little bit nicer. So we're just going to go all the way across, pulling up our loops. And if you've never done Tunisian before, I do have a whole playlist that goes over basics of Tunisian crochet. And I would say this stitch pattern, I mean, it's advanced beginner. It's really not difficult at all if you have done a couple Tunisian projects and you know the basic stitches of the Tunisian simple stitch, the knit stitch, and the purl stitch. This doesn't use any purl stitches. You just need to know the simple and the knit stitch. You're good to go. So we have pulled up our loops. So because I chained 14, I should have 14 on my hook. And I do indeed have 14 loops. I just quickly counted. So with Tunisian crochet, it's always worked in 2 parts. So your first part of your row, each row consists of 2 parts you're putting stitches on. And then the second part of your row, you're taking the stitches off. And so to take these stitches off, we're going to yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 for the rest of the row. Okay, so here is row 1, and this stitch pattern consists of 2 rows. It's a 2-row repeat, and it's pretty simple to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to do row 2. So we're going to be pulling up a loop, and we're going to be working in this space right here. So we're going to go in that space and we're going to pull up our loop. Now we're going to go work a knit stitch in that first stitch. This first vertical bar is technically your first stitch, so we're going to go in there and pull up a loop, working knit stitch. So now what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and we're going to repeat that across. So we're going to go in this next space, so it's in front of the next vertical bar, pull up a loop. Now we're going to work Tunisian knit stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So at the end of this row, you're still going to have 14, however many loops that you chain. So I have 14, so I'm going to have 14 loops in my hook. So I'm going to go back in there, pull up a loop, and work my knit stitch, and just do that across. Okay, so we're almost at the end of our row here. So to complete it, we are actually going to do the same thing. I'm going to work a knit stitch, and this, it looks like a chain here, but I'm going to go in that space because I want the stitch to be the same height as the rest of these guys. So I'm going to go in that space, pull up a loop, then I'm going to go work in that chain and pull up a loop, and I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2. So I have my 14 loops on my hook. So this stitch pattern does curl. It can already tell. A lot of Tunisian stitches do curl. It's just the nature of the stitch. But if you don't like that, what you can do is you can throw in some purl stitches. So let's say you wanted to make a blanket with this stitch, you could just do purl stitches in the border, and that would definitely help with the curling. So let's work these guys off for row 2. We're going to yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 for the rest of the row. Okay, so you can see it's like a variation of a knit stitch, and to me it just looks a little twisted there. So you could repeat that for the rest, so you could just do the twisted knit, but I want my fabric to be a little bit more solid. So what we're going to do for row 3 is we're going to work knit, Tunisian knit all the way across. So I'm just inserting my hook right through that stitch, and we've got somebody fussing in the background because he's being ignored, and we're doing this all the way across. So now we're at the end of our row and we have that twisted knit. So what I like to do to work in that guy is, so if you see, sorry, I wasn't in frame. So if you see those 2 stitches, almost looks like an upside down V. I like to insert my hook right through them like that to work that last stitch. And then we work our loops off like we normally do. So then what you're going to do for this stitch pattern is you're going to repeat rows 2 and 3 for however long you want your swatch. And you could end on a row 2 or a row 3. Okay, so here is my swatch. I think it's looking really nice. So I worked 13 rows. I ended on a row 3. So I'm going to show you how to bind this off using row 2. So we're going to go in that space like we've been doing. Then we're going to work our knit stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, and then we're just going to work a slip stitch to bind that guy off. So we're going to go in the next space, pull up a loop, work Tunisian knit, yarn over, pull through 2, and then work that slip stitch. And we're just going to do this all the way across to bind off. Now you could definitely, if you wanted to end on a knit row, you can bind off in knit row 3. It just depends, you know, what you're going for, but I just wanted to show you how you can bind off with the twisted knit stitch part here instead of just the regular knit stitch part. So I'm going to keep going. Sorry, my battery died. I was saying the stitch works up very quickly, which it does. So I think it's really nice. And it actually lays flatter than I thought it would, which is also a nice little bonus there. And then we're going to work that last one, so inserting in that space, inserting in that chain, yarn over, pull through 2, and then work that slip stitch, and our swatch is done. So again, I think this is a really nice stitch pattern. I really like it. It has a nice texture to it, and I think it would work really well for a variety of projects, like blankets, shawls, a sweater, you know, lots of different things, scarf. You could do a lot with this one. But I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.